almost didn't notice. That's the part that haunts me the most. I almost walked past her door every single day without ever knowing what was happening on the other side of it. But one evening, everything changed. And what this one quiet street did for a mother who had nothing left will stay with me forever. My name is Sarah. I live on a small suburban street in Georgia. 32 houses. Same neighbors for years. The kind of street where everyone waves, but nobody really talks. At least that's what I thought.
I'm faster than you!
You two be careful. Have a good day.
My neighbor Linda moved in 3 years ago with her 2 children. A boy named Daniel who was 8, and a girl named Grace who was 6. Linda was quiet, always polite, always had a smile ready, even when she looked exhausted. Her husband Michael had been deployed overseas with the military 18 months before. And for 18 months, Linda had been doing everything alone. It was a Thursday evening in October. I was bringing in my groceries from the car when I noticed Linda's front door slightly open. I could hear her inside. She wasn't crying loudly. It was quiet, controlled. The kind of crying someone does when they've been holding it together for too long and can't hold it anymore. Then I heard little Grace's voice from inside.
Mommy, why aren't you eating dinner with us?
I'm not very hungry tonight, sweetie. You go ahead and eat.
But she hadn't eaten. I knew it immediately, because I had seen that same look on my own mother's face years ago. I quietly set my groceries down on my porch and walked to Linda's door. I knocked softly. She opened it a few seconds later, eyes red, smile already back in place.
Hey, Sarah. Everything okay?
I looked at her and said, I was going to ask you the same thing. She let me in. We sat at her kitchen table, while Daniel and Grace ate in the next room. And slowly, Linda told me everything. Michael's deployment had been extended. Her second job had cut her hours. And for the past 3 weeks, Linda had been quietly rationing food, eating almost nothing herself, so that Daniel and Grace could have enough. She had been going hungry for 3 weeks and not one person on our street had known. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I knocked on the door of my neighbor Tom, a retired teacher, who had lived on our street for 20 years. I told him about Linda. He didn't hesitate for a single second. Within 2 hours, Tom had quietly spoken to 6 other neighbors. What happened over the next 48 hours was something I will never forget. Families began quietly leaving bags of groceries on Linda's porch. Fresh vegetables, canned goods, rice, pasta, baby snacks for Grace, juice boxes for Daniel. Mrs. Patterson from number 14 baked 2 loaves of bread and left a handwritten note that said, "You are not alone on this street." Two days after that Thursday evening, I knocked on Linda's door again. She opened it, and her eyes went wide. Behind me stood nearly every neighbor from our street, some holding grocery bags, some holding envelopes, some just standing there to show her she wasn't invisible. Linda looked at all of us and her hand went to her mouth. Grace tugged on her mother's sleeve and whispered,
Mommy, why is everyone here?
Linda looked down at her daughter and said, "Because they're our neighbor's baby, and neighbors take care of each other." Michael came home 4 months later. The first thing Linda told him wasn't about the hard months or the struggle or the hunger. She told him about the street. Michael stood in his uniform in the middle of his living room and wept. I spent 18 months protecting people I had never met. And while I was gone, people I had never properly met protected my family. That street changed after that evening. We don't just wave anymore. We talk. We check in. We knock on doors. We notice. You never know what someone is carrying behind a closed door. All it takes is one person to knock. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone today. Subscribe to the channel, because every week we bring you real stories of real people doing extraordinary things for one another. Thank you for watching. And thank you for being here.